Forbidden Island. Get to the chopper! Forbidden Island is a tile-based cooperative board game in which you must steal the 4 relics of the island and escape before you can be overtaken by the flood. Your time will be spent shoring up the flooding tiles, collecting cards to allow you to retrieve the 4 relics, and cursing the dreaded Waters Rise card. Before the start of the game, each player is randomly given one of these profession cards, which do 3 things. Most importantly, they give that player a power that is unique to them. So they may be able to give another player cards while not on the same tile, for example, or shore up 2 tiles instead of 1 for the cost of 1 action. They also tell each player what colour they are going to be and where they will start on the board, as designated by the little coloured symbols on some of the tiles. Each set of cards and all the tiles are shuffled, and the tiles are then placed in a random order in the pattern you can see here. So that's rows of 2, 4, 6, 6, 4 and 2. Each player is given 2 treasure cards. If you get a Waters Rise card here, just shuffle it back into the deck and draw another. And then 6 of the location cards in the other deck are turned over. This sets the tone for the rest of the game. This is where it starts to get scary. Because for each location you reveal, the corresponding tile is then flipped over as it starts to flood. Don't worry, it isn't lost yet. You can still traverse through it, wading through the water like everything's coming up Millhouse, and you can even use one of your 3 actions per turn to shore it up, and flip the tile back over to that gloriously dry other side. However, if that location card is turned over again while the tile is still flooded, and location cards are revealed at the end of every turn, it will disappear entirely and irretrievably. And things move very quickly in Forbidden Island. But before we get into that, now that everything is prepared, let's talk about the aim of the game. To win Forbidden Island, you must steal the 4 artifacts and get to Fool's Landing, where you can use a helicopter card to escape the island. Be careful though, there are no half victories here. It's either all off or none off. Welcome to cooperative gaming. How do you steal the artifacts? You must have 4 of one type of treasure card in your hand. Travel to one of the 2 tiles with the corresponding symbol and use an action to trade your cards for the treasure. You get these cards by drawing them at the end of your turn. Each turn ends with the player drawing 2 treasure cards from the deck, as well as revealing a number of location cards, but we'll get to that later. Treasure cards can also be traded. If you share a tile with another player, you can use one of your actions to give that player a card, and it is 1 action per card given. Be mindful though, that each player can only hold a maximum of 5 treasure cards in their hand at any given time, and has to discard cards to receive more after they've reached that amount. I will quickly mention here the 2 other types of treasure card. In addition to the ones that represents the artifacts you're trying to steal, you can also draw helicopter and sandbag cards. The helicopter card enables you to fly to any tile on the board, and the sandbag card allows you to shore up any tile on the board. The great thing about these is that not only do they not take up an action, but they can be played at any time, including when it isn't your turn. This makes the sandbag cards especially potentially very valuable, as it allows you to rescue the most valuable tiles, such as Fool's Landing or a treasure tile, in a pinch. Now the prep and cards are out of the way, let's talk about gameplay. Each turn grants a player 3 actions. The potential actions you can take in any combination are: shore up a tile, whereby you flip over a flooded tile to ensure it doesn't disappear from the game when it comes up again. You can shore up the tile you are on or any tile that is next to you. Diagonals don't count, unless your special ability says otherwise. Move. You may move 1 space per action to get to where you need to be. Again, you may not move diagonally, unless your special ability says otherwise. Trade. You may give a teammate 1 treasure card in your hand per action, provided you are on the same tile as that teammate, or your special ability says otherwise. And finally, you can use an action to trade 4 treasure cards of the same type for the corresponding treasure, as long as you are on one of the tiles with that treasure symbol. No special abilities here. At the end of each turn, cards are drawn. 2 treasure cards to the player who's just been, and a number of location cards designated by the tracker. How many this is depends on where you choose to start the game, It has helpful little descriptions relating to the difficulty of each starting position and how many times you've drawn a Waters Rise card from the treasure deck. And trust me, we will get to the Waters Rise card very soon. For every location card that is revealed, the corresponding tile is either flipped over to its flooded side, or, if it's already flooded, removed from the game. Each card only appears once in the deck, so it is unlikely one will appear twice in quick succession, though not impossible, as we'll soon find out. This removal of the tiles is how the jeopardy in Forbidden Island is ratcheted up. The space left by the removed tile cannot be traversed, unless your special ability says otherwise, and a shrinking board will leave you more and more penned in, especially because when the tile is removed from the game, so too is its corresponding card, which means that other tiles are more and more likely to be turned over. Especially given the fact that as the game goes on, more and more location cards will be turned over at the end of each turn, and that is due to the Waters Rise card. This is a type of card within the treasure deck, and there are 3 in the deck. When it is drawn, a number of things happen. First, the arrow is moved up on the tracker, meaning the number of location cards turned over at the end of each turn either increases by 1 or will do the next time a Waters Rise card appears. Secondly, the location cards that have already been turned over are shuffled and placed on the top of the deck. This means that once the Waters Rise card is drawn, some of the most recent cards will be the ones coming up next, and if you're not careful and quick with your shoring up, are likely to disappear forever. Especially if 2 Waters Rise cards come up in quick succession. We hate when that happens. If Fool's Landing sinks, you can't escape the island and you lose the game. Equally, if both of the treasure tiles for an artifact you don't yet have sink, then you can't retrieve that artifact, and so again, you lose the game. To win, you must gather all the artifacts, make your way to Fool's Landing, and once all players are on the tile, someone must have a helicopter card they can play to escape and win the game. There are 3 things to recommend Forbidden Island to any board game fan. It is a fun, well-balanced, cooperative board game, ideal for avoiding those game night punch-ups. It is easy to learn but difficult to master, and it is cheap. This isn't a game that's going to offer the variety and in-depth thinking of a Wingspan or an Everdell, but it is quick, tricky and fun. I've played it with board game newbies and veterans alike, and there is always an enjoyable time to be had. And for the price, I think it's one that's got to be in any board game fan's collection. Thank you for watching this review and how to play. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments below if there's any game that you'd like me to review and if this one's been helpful to you.